Our boy Sora-kun is a major simp for Nanami-chan, a Japanese idol. So, how does this end up happening? That looks awesome. I mean, that's terrifying. If that ever happened to one of you guys, I would take your place instead. That's how much I care about each and every one of you. My only humble wish in return is you click the like button. Anyways, let's get on with the story. After attending another Nanami's concert as usual, our satisfied-looking Sora goes to get some McDanks with his buddy. Sharing my personal favorite, a double filet-o-fish, they chat about Nanami's soaring popularity. Sora's friend expresses his desire to see Nanami in more cultural clothing, which triggers Sora. As he slams his hand on the table, Sora claims that a true fan like himself just wants her to be successful. In fact, he would do anything for Nanami to become the #1 idol in Japan. She is the meaning of his life. For good reasons, the friend worries for Sora and advises him not to spend all his money on just Nanami. But who cares about what a side character thinks, really? I mean, he's so insignificant that the author doesn't even bother giving him a name. Anyways, the friend suggests that Sora should check out other idols too, but Sora remains unshook. He's a dedicated man who is only willing to simp for one girl. When Sora returns home later that evening, he quickly realizes that his prized limited edition t-shirt, the one personally designed by Nanami, has mysteriously disappeared. He thoroughly searches his entire room, but is unable to find it in the end. So when he attends Nanami's concert the following day, he's shamefully wearing just an ordinary shirt. Come to think of it, he realizes that he's been missing a lot of personal belongings lately. His friend suspects that perhaps someone might be stealing from him. Sora dismisses the idea, even though he's had an eerie sensation of being watched lately. In any case, it's Sora's turn next for the backstage meet and greet with Nanami-chan, and sweet Jesus, would you look at that?
The tasteful thickness of it.
Sorry, where was I? Oh, right. Like a true professional idol, Nanami cheerfully greets Sora by name and expresses her gratitude for his presence. Sora can't help but feel a sense of shame for dressing like a normal person and begins worrying that she might take notice. His worst fear comes true when Nanami comments on him wearing a different shirt for the first time. Nanami appears somewhat disappointed and asks if he's simping for another idol. It's at this point Sora confesses about what's happened. The news inspires Nanami's generosity and she provides him a brand new limited edition shirt. He politely declines her offer at first, but she insists on it. Her only ask for repayment is that he continues to simp hard for her. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Sora breaks down into tears and vows to dedicate his entire being to being her #1 fan. On his way back home with the side character, honestly, the author still hasn't revealed a name, Sora realizes he's clumsily lost his phone. When the nameless friend dials Sora's number, a familiar ringtone emits from an alleyway behind them. Oh my god, he really does have a stalker. The mysterious stalker hastily makes a run for it, but Sora chases after the goddamn thief. After a tense pursuit, he catches up to the person and they stumble to the ground together. And the thief turns out to be... Brace yourselves because you guys might faint from the shock. Sora's stalker is none other than Nanami-chan. There's no way she's his stalker. Okay, I know the manga's title says she is, but play along, you guys. No, Sora assumes that she's probably come to return his phone. To everyone's surprise, however, including you guys, Nanami denies coming to return his lost phone, all while snapping close-up photos of him. And then, everything goes black as Sora loses his consciousness. While he's blacked out, let's do a quick flashback to when Sora-kun first met Nanami-chan. It was at a small idol festival. Back then, no one really knew who Nanami was. She was basically a nobody, but not to Sora. The moment he saw her, he realized the meaning of life. After Nanami's performance, Sora met her backstage and showered her with praise, expressing how utterly amazing she was. He made a solemn vow to her that day that he'd attend every single one of her shows from that moment onward. And true to his word, he became a full-on otaku, collecting all her merchandise and securing front-row seats in all her concerts. At this point, you must be wondering how Sora ended up in this situation. But no, that's not the right question to ask. The better question is, how is that even possible? I mean, her hip thrust must be able to generate a wind force so powerful that you'd have to give it a name. Anyways, Sora gradually wakes up in a daze. Nanami, looking mischievous, reveals her collection of photos of him. Confused, Sora looks around his surroundings and sees all his missing belongings, including the t-shirt he lost recently. Nanami admits to collecting his belongings, much like he's been collecting her merch. Oh my god, could she perhaps be in love with him? But no, she isn't. Okay, then why is she doing this? Nanami's manager steps forward to explain. As it turns out, the manager is Nanami's older sister, and she reveals that without stalking him, Nanami can't perform properly on stage as an idol. Sora asks about all the other die-hard fans of hers. He says that surely he's just one among many and therefore replaceable. But they're no good, she claims, because he is her #1 fan. In fact, her success entirely is thanks to Sora. Without him, it would all be meaningless. And so, Sora rises to his feet to grant her permission to continue stalking him. He also pledges to keep supporting her because he knows she can become a top idol in Japan. And when you have the potential to become a star, you can render someone unconscious, steal from them, and do whatever the f*** else you want, and get away with it, because that's what it means to be a star. The next day, Nanami is deeply lost in thought. Before her are 3 pairs of what unmistakably appear to be shorts. Her sister calls to inform her that breakfast is ready, but f*** breakfast. What's more important to Nanami is that she accurately predicts which pair Sora will wear that day. Meanwhile, Sora couldn't focus in class at all that day because his mind was still consumed by the events of the other day. His friend, whose name still remains a mystery, asks Sora if he's attending Nanami's performance later that day. Sora says he is, but his mind still appears preoccupied. The friend begins to suspect that something must have happened yesterday. Perhaps he committed an act of betrayal, an act so foul that you learn about it in elementary school, yet you can't mention it on YouTube because the mere utterance of the word will get you demonetized. Anyways, Sora brushes off the conversation because that's enough interaction with a side character. Later, he goes to Nanami's concert, and there he is again, in the front row. Sora has an awesome time as usual, but he's also unable to shake off the feeling that Nanami might be plotting something. When he finally meets her backstage, she behaves completely normal and nothing unusual happens. Nothing. He gets home safe and sound. No plot twist, no culturally rich scenes. Holy f***, never mind, she's in his room. Nanami doesn't seem to have noticed Sora's arrival because she's still deeply lost in her investigation of Sora-kun's shorts. Sora lets out a frightened scream, worried that YouTube might figure out the hidden meaning of my poetry. Finally noticing Sora's presence, Nanami immediately confronts him about all the new pairs of shorts he's bought without informing her. She then wipes away her sorrows with what is undeniably Sora's shorts. Flustered, Sora-kun explains that his mom bought them for him on her recent Costco run. He immediately regrets what he reveals and scrambles to come up with an excuse. However, Nanami actually seems impressed with how kind and considerate he is to his mother. She then reveals a secret. She wears his used shorts during her live concerts. I wish I could show you guys how snug the shorts fit her. I mean, Sora might literally have nothing down there. Anyways, Nanami confesses that even that day she's taken another set of his used shorts and replaced them with new ones. Suddenly, her sister appears from the window and reminds Nanami that it's time to leave. With a cheerful smile, like the one I put on whenever you guys click on the subscribe button, Nanami promises to return the next day and disappears with her sister out the window. 24 hours later, we find ourselves tuning into Nanami's live stream. Sora is super excited, wondering what casual clothes she'll be wearing. However, when he joins her stream, she appears to be half dead. I know you're asking, what's going on, Mata? Please, tell us. All right, fine. Let's rewind the clock to earlier that day. In the morning, Nanami was her usual cheery self. Even at the photo shoot, the photographer praised her smile as she looked genuinely happy. Of course, we know why she was delighted. She was given permission to spy on Sora. In fact, she managed to place a tracker on his phone so she can now find him literally any time and place. But tragically, she spotted him going into a record shop with He Who Must Not Be Named. Is the author ever going to tell us his name? At this point, it's just disrespectful, isn't it? Anyways, Nanami quickly followed them inside the shop where, oh my god, he's checking out another idol named Ruka. What's even more annoying is that Ruka is even more popular than Nanami, for reasons we cannot possibly fathom. Maybe he's just accompanying his nameless friend, but no. Sora grabs Ruka's album himself and proceeds to the checkout stand. And so now you see why she appeared devastated later that night during her live stream. Sometime after the live stream ends, Nanami's sister appears through Sora's window and asks if he knows the reason behind her sister's distress because she won't tell her why. In fact, she brought Nanami along, hoping that Sora could shed some light on the situation. As for why Nanami's taken on an egg-shaped form, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a symbolic way of representing her fragility and brittle spirit. Anyways, Sora has no idea at first, so he recalls how he spent the day. Soon after, he wonders out loud if this is about him buying Ruka's album. At his mention of Ruka, Nanami-chan starts flailing around like a lunatic. She accuses him of being disloyal and blames it on the lacking size of her heart compared to Ruka's generosity. Magically, she then transforms back into her human form and asks whose feet are better, hers or Ruka's. Sora murmurs the only appropriate answer, which immediately brightens up Nanami's mood. But her sister interjects, claiming that his compliment can't make up for the fact that he's betrayed her. In response, Sora-kun shyly yells that he'll never betray her and swears his loyalty. Nanami demands he say it again, but louder this time. She takes out her phone to record his confession. He screams another confession, but she wants it even louder. He screams an even louder confession, which makes me think, where are his parents? I mean, if I did that, I would hear the sound of my dad running upstairs swinging his belt. Anyways, Nanami wants him to be even louder. Finally, Sora belts out,
I still love you.
That was apparently a solid minute and a half of him screaming. Satisfied, Nanami drools at the thought of setting the recording of his screaming confessions as her morning alarm. Lastly, she demands he hand over Ruka's album so she can properly dispose of it in the non-recyclable trash bin. And my dear brothers and sisters, this is where Sora finally unveils the name of his friend, solving one of the world's greatest mysteries. He explains that the album belongs to his friend, Ta-Kei. Having cleared the misunderstanding, it looks like everything is settled and back to normal. However, the manga needs a plot to go on. So just as Nanami is about to exit through the window, Sora's phone suddenly chimes with a notification. Upon checking the message, he makes a confession that he's going to have to accompany his friend Ta-Kei to Ruka's concert. The next day, on his way to Ruka's concert, Sora comes across, finally a new girl we haven't seen before in this manga. But no, it's just Nanami's older sister, dressed in a high school uniform. She claims to be conducting a survey and suggests that they head over to a nearby hotel for an interview. Sensing the looming threat of demonetization, Sora commands the impure spirit to depart from her body in the name of Jesus. But she's insistent on taking Sora behind those ungodly walls. Anyway, she claims her intentions are purer than a newborn baby's smile, but I'm not falling for that shit. Realizing her tactics aren't working, she takes out a zapper and chases after him. Sora runs for his life but is abruptly halted by the sudden appearance of Nanami. Maybe he can still make it down the alleyway and escape? Yeah, no. When Sora regains consciousness, he sees a sign out that indicates that Ruka's performance has ended. Initially, I thought Nanami and her sister literally left Sora unconscious outside, but it looks like Nanami had the decency to stick around. Sora looks disappointed, raising Nanami's suspicion, so he clarifies that his intention was to attend Ruka's concert in order to attract more female fans for Nanami, given that most of her fans are boys. She expresses her appreciation for his thoughtfulness, but tells him that's her responsibility. All she wants from him is to be her dedicated simp. Meanwhile, Ruka comes out after her concert and, Sorry, what was I saying? Oh, right. Ruka comes out and spots Nanami giggling and having all sorts of fun with Sora-kun. It's the next day, and Sora is still bummed out about not being able to recruit more female fans for Nanami. Nonetheless, he decides to set that matter aside for now and simply enjoy Nanami's concert. He joins the line to enter the venue, where he's approached by a girl who seems to be there for the same concert. She becomes excited upon recognizing him as Sora, the top otaku, who is often photographed in the front row at Nanami's shows. At first, he wishes the girl would leave him alone. But suddenly, a brilliant idea dawns on him. He realizes that if he treats her kindly, she might tweet about her positive experience, which will in turn generate more female fans for Nanami. With this realization, Sora suddenly acts warmly to the girl, offering to give up his front row seat just so he can accompany her in the back row. As he gets all excited at his own plan, he doesn't realize the girl is giving off a menacing glare, as if she's about to turn this manga into a horror genre. Nanami's concert begins, and of course, as fifth most popular rookie idol in Japan, it's no surprise her show is yet again completely sold out. She looks to the front row to look for Sora, but he's nowhere to be found. Panic creeps in and she nearly loses focus, but just in the nick of time, she spots him seated all the way in the back row. She's able to regain her composure, but seeing him all giggly with another girl sparks the inner Yor Forger in her. But being the professional she is, Nanami continues her performance flawlessly. After the concert ends, Sora makes his way to the after-party with the fellow fan, brimming with excitement as they discuss Nanami's potential to become even more popular than she is now. Sora can't agree with her more, and gets all excited about having finally found someone who he can share this kind of conversation with. "Sorry, Take." Sora then asks when the girl became Nanami's fan. She explains that she became a fan after the idol she used to admire got fired for getting involved with another fan. Just then, they arrive at a dead end. Sora thinks they might have taken a wrong turn, but the girl says they're exactly where they're supposed to be. Suddenly, she smacks the wall behind Sora and reveals her true identity. "I swear you guys have no idea who it is. And I'm going to end the recap here so you'll never find out. Nah, I'm just being silly, but for real, don't freak out because it turns out to be Ruka."
Oh my god!
Wait, if Nanami is the fifth most popular rookie idol and Ruka is the third most popular, just how massive are the most popular idols? Sorry, anyways, let's get back to the story. Ruka reveals the picture she took of Sora and Nanami, inquiring about their relationship. Meanwhile, after her concert and the after-party, we find Nanami in her dressing room. She worriedly thinks about Sora's whereabouts, considering that he missed the after-party for the first time ever. She also wonders about the identity of the girl who was with him. To find out what happens next, you can start reading from Chapter 6 of the manga,